beautiful souls, welcome back to Rabia Unfolded. Come on, let's prepare something absolutely delicious together today. A crispy fried chicken, toast in a rich saucy mix of fresh vegetables, all served with some perfectly boiled white rice. Simple, cozy, and full of flavor. So grab your aprons, turn up the vibes, and let's unfold this yummy chicken veggie rice together. I'm starting off with some beautiful chicken leg quarters. That's the thigh and the drumstick together. These cuts taste so juicy and tender, even after frying. I'm making a few small cuts across the meat, just light slides. So when we marinate it later, all those spices can really sink in and flavor every bite. And as I'm scoring the chicken, I also trim off any extra fat I find along the edges. It keeps the chicken clean, neat, and helps it fry up nicely and evenly. I always like to wash my proteins no matter what I'm making, even if I'm going to deep fry them later. So once I'm done scoring the chicken leg quarters, I pour in a little apple cider vinegar and add a bit of salt. Then I fill the bowl with some lukewarm water and let the chicken sit for about 5 minutes. This helps clean the meat and remove any residues. After 5 minutes, I rinse it thoroughly, making sure all the vinegar and salt are washed off. Then place the chicken on a strainer to drain out the excess water while I move on to the next step. Next, I proceed with washing and preparing my vegetables. For this recipe, I'm using some fresh Roma tomatoes, a few garlic cloves, 1 large onions, green and red bell peppers, and some fresh green onions. I start by washing everything nicely. For the bell peppers, I cut them into halves and remove all the seed from inside before placing them on a clean bowl. Then I move on to the green onions. I trim off all dry outer layers, rinse them properly, and add them to the same bowl. Next, I wash my Roma tomatoes thoroughly, slice them up, and place them with the rest of the veggies. I do the same for my onions. Peel off the dry outer layers, wash them, and add them to the bowl. Finally, I peel the garlic cloves, give them a good rinse, and place them in there as well. Once all the vegetables are nicely washed, fresh, and prepped in the bowl, we're ready to move on to the next step. Now it's time to blend our vegetables. I start by adding about half of the chopped vegetables in a blender. Pour in just a little water and blend until they are crushed. Not too smooth, just enough to break everything down. Then I go ahead and add the remaining vegetables and blend again. I still don't want it fully smooth. I just want that nice crushed texture. Once everything is blended, I pour about 3/4 of the mixture into a large pot. This part will be used later for a veggie sauce. Then I take the remaining quarter. That's the one I will use to marinate the chicken leg quarters. And yes, at this point, my little one decided she wanted some attention too. So I carried her while blending. Multitasking mom live. But that doesn't stop the cooking from going on. Next, I grab a clean bowl and place it right beside my pot of crushed vegetables. I gently lay the first layer of my already strained chicken leg quarters into the bowl. Then I scoop in a few spoons of crushed vegetable mix. This will start building the flavor right from the base. Now, I add in my organic parsley paste, a bit of basil paste, and some other green herb paste I have on hand. I also add a spoon of my organic ginger paste. I didn't blend these earlier, so adding them now helps give the chicken that extra burst of flavor. Next, I go in with my dry ingredients. Some ground country onions, that's what we call it back home. A bit of ground white pepper, all-purpose seasoning, and some salt. Then I layer the remaining chicken leg quarters right on top. On that top layer, I sprinkle in some ground black pepper, a little cayenne for heat, and some dry parsley flakes. Then I added a few more scoops of my blend vegetables on top to tie everything together. Once that's done, I put on my gloves and give everything a good mix. Really working and marinate into each piece so all those flavors get deep inside the chicken. As I mix, I noticed my white pepper could use a little more punch, so I add a bit more, along with some black pepper and just a pinch more salt. When I'm happy with the mix and everything is coated beautifully, I cover the bowl with a clear plastic wrap and set it aside to marinate while I move on to the next step. Now that our chicken is marinating, I'm moving on to the crushed vegetables we set aside earlier. It's time to season them and turn them into a rich, flavorful veggie sauce. For my dry ingredients, I'm using ground black pepper, ground country onions, cayenne pepper, Maggi and salt to taste, a bit of dry Italian seasoning, dry parsley flakes, and ground white pepper. I start by pouring all my dry ingredients right into the pot of crushed vegetables. I add in a few dried bay leaves for that beautiful aroma and drizzle in some canola oil. Once everything's in, I place the pot on the stove over medium heat. Then give it a quick stir to mix everything together nicely. I make sure the spices, oil, and vegetables combine evenly. Then cover it and let it simmer gently. Just enough for all those flavors to come together into a rich, aromatic veggie sauce. While the veggies are cooking nicely on the stove, I move on to my rice. I always like to wash it thoroughly, making sure I remove all the starch. You will know it's clean when the water runs clear. Once the rice is nicely rinsed, for a beautiful color and a bit of extra flavor, I add a pinch of dried parsley flakes, a little liquid coconut oil, and some salt to taste. Then I top it up with water. I place it in my rice cooker, set my rice cooker for white rice, and let it cook while everything else comes together. While my rice is cooking and the mixed vegetables are steaming nicely, I decide to multitask. As every busy cook does, I place my marinated chicken leg quarters into the air fryer, making sure they fit comfortably, and set it to cook while I continue with my other tasks. Next, I checked on the veggies. Oh, the aroma was incredible. I give them a quick taste and realize they need just a little extra Maggi crevette for that perfect flavor boost. Then I check on the rice. It is cooking beautifully, but for the extra pop of color and flavor, I add some frozen vegetables, carrots, green beans, chickpeas, and sweet corn, and stir them in. The color blends together so nicely, making the rice look vibrant, delicious, and inviting. I cover it to steam a bit more while finishing the vegetables. A quick final stir of the vegetables and everything looks perfect. Tender, flavorful, and ready to go. I take a moment to tidy up my kitchen space and clean any splashes near the stove. Then check on the chicken. It has air fried to a gorgeous crispy golden brown. I flip the piece to make sure both sides were perfectly cooked. After flipping the chicken to make sure both sides air fry nicely, I let it cook for a few more minutes. When I checked again, the chicken was perfectly golden brown and crispy. I then carefully transferred it into a separate beautiful dish and covered it. I always cover my air-fried chicken because it keeps it moist and tender inside while still holding onto the gorgeous golden color. If I leave it uncovered, it tends to dry out, and we definitely don't want that. Once it's safely covered, I set it aside while I continue air-frying the remaining pieces. At this point, the aroma from the mix of rice, chicken, and veggie sauce was absolutely irresistible. I just couldn't wait any longer. While waiting for the remaining chicken to finish air frying, I decided to serve myself a little portion. I scooped the rice into a cup, just like chefs do, and carefully placed it on a beautiful tray. Then I positioned one of the golden brown chicken leg quarters next to it. After removing the cup, the rice held its shape perfectly, showing off that gorgeous blend of colors. Now for the final touch, I scooped some of the mixed veggie sauce over the chicken, letting the oil and flavors drizzle naturally into the meat. The look, oh my goodness, absolutely stunning and so inviting. At this moment, the evening sunlight was streaming gently through my windows, partially lighting up that space and making everything look even more beautiful. Finally, the moment of truth. I first give thanks to God for this provision, and then I take that first bite. Oh my, it is incredible! The crispy golden brown chicken, the colorful rice, and the rich flavorful veggie sauce all comes together perfectly. Every bite is bursting with flavor, and I just can't stop eating. It is pure comfort, joy, and satisfaction on a plate. It's everything I want and more. Looking at this beautiful meal we've prepared today, it reminds me of life itself. Just like each ingredient in this dish, the chicken, the colorful vegetables, the fragrant spices, every moment, every effort, every little choice we make in life comes together to create something amazing. Sometimes, it takes a little patience, a little care, and yes, sometimes a little stirring and adjusting along the way, just like we did in the kitchen today. And just like this dish, life is richest when we blend our experiences with love, attention, and intention. The result? Something that nourishes the body, lifts the spirit, and brings joy not just to ourselves, but to everyone we share it with. So remember, beautiful souls, take your time, add your own flavors, and never be afraid to taste life along the way. Thank you so much for unfolding this beautiful cooking journey with me today. If you enjoyed watching this delicious chicken veggie rice come together, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment telling me your favorite part of this recipe. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Rabia Unfolded and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new recipe, a new tip, or a new moment of joy from my kitchen to yours. Until next time, keep cooking with love, keep creating, and keep unfolding your best life one delicious meal at a time. Cheers.